You wake up one day and don't feel ready. You don't feel good enough. But that doesn't matter. You get up, you show up, you act like you've already made it. And over time, that act becomes your reality. Confidence isn't handed to you. It's built, decision by decision. Every time you keep going, when your mind tells you to stop. You walk into the room with your head high, even if your knees shake. You speak up, even if your voice trembles. That's what fake it until you make it really means. It's not pretending. It's practicing the life you're working toward until it becomes who you are. You face doubt, you push through fear, and with each step, you become the person you were meant to be. You may not see the results yet. That's okay. You still act like the person who does, because every moment you carry yourself like you belong, you teach yourself how to. You think like it. You talk like it. You plan like it. Over time, those pieces align, and people start believing in you. Why? Because you believed first. That's the key. You didn't wait for approval. You didn't wait for a green light. You became your own source of belief. Even if it was shaky, it was enough to move forward. And moving forward, especially when you're scared, is what matters most. The people you admire weren't born with it. They weren't molded from greatness. They simply refused to stop. They kept acting like they belonged until they did. That's the game. You don't wait for confidence. You create it. You act like it's already yours, and it grows. Momentum feeds belief. Every time you do something you didn't think you could, you change the story in your head. You begin to believe, maybe I am that person, maybe I can do this, and then you go again and again and again. Fear has no place behind the wheel. It doesn't get a vote. It doesn't build your dream or write your story. All it does is delay what courage is ready to create. That scared voice in your head, it's loud, but it's wrong. So you don't wait for fear to leave. You walk through it. You hold your head up and say, I'm doing this anyway. You don't let fear stop you. You let it prove you. On the hard days, you fake the energy. On the quiet days, you fake the confidence. On the heavy days, you fake the strength. And eventually, it's not fake. You wake up one day and realize, I've become the person I was pretending to be. That's the secret. You become what you consistently act like. So don't act broken. Don't act small. Don't act stuck. Act ready. Act bold. Act unstoppable. Then, be it. You keep showing up. That's what sets you apart from the ones who quit. You don't need applause. You don't need likes or praise. You don't even need a good job. You just need the mirror. If you can look yourself in the eye and know you didn't quit today, that's a win. That's how progress works. Quietly, slowly, day by day. You stack invisible wins until one day they can't be ignored. You kept building when no one noticed. You kept moving when no one believed. And now they ask how you did it. You faked it, then you made it. People think the phrase means being fake. It doesn't. It means refusing to let your current limits define your future. It means stepping into who you want to be and dragging the present you forward. It means recognizing that hesitation is the enemy of greatness. You don't wait for the right time. You move. Now. Because ready is a myth. Perfect doesn't exist. All you have is this moment, this decision, this chance, and you either take it or you don't. Some mornings you'll feel like nothing's changed, like you're still that insecure version of yourself, wondering if this will ever work. And that's okay. You feel it. Then you do it anyway. That's real strength, not waiting to feel powerful, but acting like you already are. And people will notice. There's something magnetic about someone who walks like they belong, even before they've been invited. It's not arrogance, it's belief. Belief that you'll grow into the space you've claimed. Stay consistent, and you will, every time. You're not lying to yourself, you're leading yourself. That's the difference. You're not pretending to be someone else. You're becoming someone more capable, more focused, more resilient. The kind of person who doesn't wait to be chosen, the kind who chooses themselves. That's what this mindset is. You choosing you before anyone else does. That's how leaders are made. Not by titles, but by decision. And when you believe in yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them roll their eyes and ask, who do you think you are? Maybe you don't know yet, but you're figuring it out. And you won't shrink just to keep them comfortable. Some people will always want to keep you where they met you. Don't stay there. Grow anyway. Evolve anyway. Win anyway. You weren't built to stay the same. You're here to stretch, to break limits, to prove to the world and yourself what happens when you stop settling. You'll feel out of place sometimes, like you're reaching too high, dreaming too loud. Good. That's where growth happens, in discomfort, in doubt, in that awkward space between who you are and who you're becoming. Embrace it. That feeling isn't failure, it's transformation. Most people avoid it. They'd rather stay comfortable, but not you. You'd rather look foolish today if it means being unstoppable tomorrow. That's what makes you different. That's why you'll win. You don't need all the answers, just the next step. Don't try to build the whole mountain in one day. Just lay one brick, then another, and another. Soon you'll look back and see how high you've climbed, using nothing but faith, effort, and grind. And when you look back, you'll laugh at how scared you used to be, at how long you waited for permission. But now, you don't wait. You give yourself the green light. That's all you ever needed. Every time you fake it, you're building something real. You're reshaping your brain. You're rewriting your identity. You're collecting proof that you can do hard things, that you can lead yourself, that you don't need applause or approval to rise. And each win, each step, makes it harder to believe the old story. The one that said you weren't enough. The one that said you had to wait your turn. That story fades every time you act. So kill it. Replace it. Write the one where you win, because you never stop showing up. Something starts to shift as you keep going. One day you wake up and it's different. The clothes you once felt insecure in now feel like armor. The room you used to walk into with fear, you now own it. The voice that used to tremble now cuts clear. And that's when you realize you're not faking it anymore. Somewhere along the way, pretending became practice, and practice became presence. The costume turned into skin. The mask fell off. You didn't wait for belief to find you. You built it. Sure, the doubt still shows up. That's human, but it doesn't control you anymore. You've put in too many hours, faced too many nights alone, struggled too long without recognition to let fear win now. You've come too far. You've earned too much. Even if no one else sees the work, you do. You know the price you paid. So when someone questions your worth, you don't flinch. They don't know the grind, they only see the result. Let them guess. You're still building. This isn't about a finish line. There is none. You don't fake it until you make it and then stop. You fake it until you grow into it. And then you level up and do it again. Because life keeps rising, and so do you. That's the rhythm. You never get comfortable. You never settle for last year's identity. You stay hungry. You stay sharp. You stay lit. That's how legacies are made. When people ask how you did it, you won't hand them a perfect plan. You'll give them the truth. I started before I was ready. I acted before I felt confident. I moved like I belonged, even when I still doubted it. No shortcuts, just grit, just effort, just faith. That's the real meaning of fake it until you make it. Not illusion, intention, not pretending, positioning. Stepping into who you could be until you become it. You will get knocked down. Expect it. You will question everything as part of the process. Doubt, pain, failure. Those aren't signs to quit. They're ingredients. They're the weight that forges the edge. They test you. They sharpen you. So when they come, you nod and say, good. Let's see what I'm made of. Because you know growth lives in the fire, not comfort. And you chose the fire. You chose the harder path. You chose to risk looking foolish. You chose to show up soaking wet in the storm instead of waiting for the sky to clear. That's courage. That's the line between the people who watch and the ones who win. You're in the arena now. You've got scars, and those scars are proof. Badges of movement. You didn't quit. You didn't hide. You stood up when every voice said sit down. So keep doing it. Keep walking into rooms that intimidate you. Keep starting what you don't feel ready for. Keep calling yourself by the name of the person you're becoming. Write the book. Build the thing. Ask the question. Make the move. The world doesn't belong to the ones who wait to feel worthy. It belongs to the ones who act like they are. Mastery comes from motion, not from mood. The feeling follows the work. Some days you won't feel like it. That's fine. Do it anyway. Tired? Show up. Doubting yourself? Lead anyway. Feeling small? Try anyway. That's the magic. It's not about feeling like a champion. It's about acting like one. Because action rewires identity. You're not defined by how you feel. You're defined by what you do. And if what you do says, I'm ready, then you are. Period. Let the world catch up. Let the critics whisper. Let the doubters stare. That's not your business. Your job is to move, to build, to rise. And when the winds start stacking, When the results speak louder than the noise, you'll know why. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was decision. It was discipline. It was showing up when quitting felt easier. It was choosing to act like a giant when you still felt small. You didn't wait for confidence. You moved without it. You didn't wait for certainty. You became the proof. You didn't wait, you walked. You walked when your legs were shaking. You spoke when your voice cracked. You moved forward when everything inside you screamed to turn back. That's the difference. The decision to act despite fear. Because fear never leaves. That's the catch. You just learn to keep going anyway. You train your mind to stay focused. You build discipline through action. And with every step forward, you take power from fear and give it back to yourself. That's not faking it. That's growth. That's transformation. You were told to wait until you're ready, until it's safe, until the plan is perfect. But those are just delays disguised as wisdom. The path doesn't clear before you begin. It clears because you begin. You don't need the whole staircase, just the next step. That's how every legend starts, not with certainty, but with motion. That's what fake it until you make it means. Starting when you're unsure, standing tall before you feel worthy, pushing forward before you're convinced you belong. You fake the discipline until it becomes instinct. You fake the hustle until it becomes habit. You fake the leadership until people start following, and then one day you realize you're not faking anything. You've become it, and the very struggle that once felt like survival becomes someone else's inspiration. They see your courage, your consistency, your momentum. They don't hear the doubt. They don't feel the fear. They just see the fire, and that's how you know it's working. You become the proof, and this world needs proof. Proof that it's possible to start unready. Proof that you can build the life you want without waiting for applause. You do the work when no one's watching. You show up without an audience. You lead without a title. You don't fake your way through. You build your way in, brick by brick, step by step, even in silence, especially in silence. You'll have moments when the mask slips, when the gap between who you are and who you're becoming feels wide. That's not failure. That's the process. That gap is your training ground. You don't fear it, you face it, and you walk through anyway. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, but bravely. And that one step, taken with doubt and all, already puts you ahead of the pack. Because most people stop at resistance, but not you. You've learned resistance is a sign. It means you're on track. If it was easy, it wouldn't shape you. If it was comfortable, it wouldn't change you. Pressure creates diamonds, and it forges warriors. When it gets heavy, you don't run. You lean in. You press harder. That's where transformation happens. Just past, I'm not sure I can do this. But you can. You always could. You just forgot. You let other voices get louder than your own. But not anymore. Your voice leads now. Even if it whispers, I'm scared, it ends with, but I'm doing it anyway. That's your phrase. That's your power. I don't feel ready, but I'm showing up anyway. I don't know how this ends, but I'm stepping in anyway. That's courage. That's how you build a life that matters. Because the alternative, staying the same, that's not safety. That's slow death. That's letting your potential rot in the back of your mind. That's years of wondering what could have been. And that pain, the pain of regret, is heavier than any risk. But when you move, even afraid, you build something worth living for. A life that's real. A life that says, I did it. For real. That's everything. That's worth the fear. That's worth the fight. So go. Now don't wait for the right words or the perfect plan. Say the thing, build the thing, share the idea, open the door, walk through, even if your hands shake, even if your heart pounds. Do it anyway, and then watch what happens. Watch who you become. You won't just make it, you'll make history, your own. There will be days when none of it makes sense, days you question why you started, when silence is louder than any applause you once imagined. That's part of the climb, the hidden chapter in every success story, the late nights, the empty rooms, The moments when quitting looks easier than continuing. But you don't quit. Why? Because you already decided. You decided your future mattered more than your comfort. You decided your dreams weren't up for debate. And you made yourself a promise. Keep going, no matter what. That promise is everything. It's your anchor. Because feelings fade. Motivation comes and goes. But a decision, that's steady. That can carry you through hell. Every morning, you remind yourself, I don't fake it because I'm weak. I fake it because I'm strong enough to act like the person I'm becoming. I show up, not because I feel like it, but because that's who I am now. A finisher, a closer, someone who follows through. That's your new identity. And every action you take casts a vote for becoming that person. You walk in like you belong, even when you feel like an outsider, because no one's handing you a seat. You bring your own. You speak like your voice matters. You carry yourself like you've earned it, long before the world agrees. And eventually they will. That's how it always works. First, they ignore you. Then they laugh. Then they doubt. And finally, they ask how you did it. And you'll smile. Because you know, I faked it until I built it. I acted like I had it, and then I worked until I did. The world will test you. It'll whisper lies. Too late, too old, too inexperienced, too broken. Don't listen, you're not too anything. You're right on time. You're the answer you've been waiting for. And when you start acting like it, thinking, moving, speaking like it, everything begins to shift. People respond to your energy before they understand your vision. So bring the energy. Walk like you own it. Speak like the expert. Move like a force of nature. Eventually the room adjusts. You don't need all the answers. No one does. Even the greats didn't start with clarity. They started with courage. And that's all you need. One act of courage. One bold step. One moment of belief. That's how empires are built. Not in glory, but in grit. Not in perfection, but in persistence. In shaky starts. In late nights. In the grind no one sees. That's the soil where greatness grows. You're in that soil now. You're planting seeds. You may not see the fruit yet, but keep watering. It's coming. You think the people you admire had something you don't. They didn't. They just made a decision you haven't made yet. They moved before they felt ready. They acted like winners long before they had proof. And those actions became the truth. That's the real blueprint. Behave like the future version of yourself, daily, relentlessly. You don't break promises to that version, you don't doubt them, you protect them, and one action at a time, you become them. There will be days you doubt the process, days you wonder if you're just spinning in circles, but then you look up and realize you're further than you ever expected. You're handling problems that used to break you, you're standing taller, you're speaking clearer, you're becoming the version of yourself you once only imagined. That's not luck, that's earned, step by step. Win by win. Now, it's not an act, it's who you are. You never needed anyone to crown you. You were always royalty. The crown isn't given, it's claimed. Every time you fake it with intention, every time you step forward with trembling legs, you reach for that crown. You're not faking your identity. You're becoming your potential. You're not hiding behind a mask. You're shedding the limits that used to hold you back. And there's nothing more real than that. So don't stop now. You've come too far. You've risen through too much to retreat. Let this chapter be the shift. Not because someone gave you a chance, but because you made your own. You showed up like a winner. You moved like someone who couldn't be stopped. And eventually, the world stopped questioning and started following your lead. Because confidence forged in fire never fades. And confidence earned through struggle, that kind of confidence lasts forever.